degree with some level of success. So understanding what is the, how we do it, how we go about it, what are the challenges, what are the strengths, opportunities, and so on and so forth. So then the next section would be going deeper into text 11, which shows how everything leads, dovetails to Krishna, no matter whatever it is, whether it's spiritual or material science. And then why bhakti is the ultimate spiritual path. There's a very popular saying, all roads lead to Rome. Because when Rome was at the peak of its power, they had built many highways and so on and so forth, many for transactions, business, commerce, as well as for military movement. So there was this saying that all roads lead to Rome. So that way, all roads lead to Krishna, no matter whether it's the spiritual or material path. But why out of these so many roads, why spiritual path is the Krishna consciousness is the topmost? We'll understand that. And then finally, tomorrow is a very special day. It is Srivas Pandit's appearance day. We all know Srivas Pandit, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi, Srivas and all the other Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we will cover upon Srivas Pandit in brief. What is his tattva, what is his position, his teachings, and what it means to our sadhana bhakti. Okay? So we'll start with the Mangalacharan Prayer. Now I'm going to text 4.11 of Veda Base. I hope it appears on your screen. Can somebody please confirm? Hare Krishna. Can you see the verse?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can see it.
Thank you. So we'll start with Mangalacharan. You can unmute those of you who know it and join along with me. And if you don't know it, you can just listen to it, close your eyes and meditate on the sound vibration. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanan Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayatam Udiryate. Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Tato Bhakti. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. Could you repeat, please? Nobody? Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Tams tathaiva bhajami aham.
Tams tathaiva bhajami aham.
Mama vartmanu vartante.
Mama vartmanu vartante.
Manushya partha sarvashah.
Manushya partha sarvashah.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante.
Tams tathaiva bhajami aham.
Tams tathaiva bhajami aham.
Mama vartmanu vartante.
Mama vartmanu vartante.
Manushya partha sarvashah.
Manushya partha sarvashah.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante.
Ye yatha ma prapadyante.
Tams tathaiva bhajamyam.
Tams tathaiva bhajamyaham.
Mama vartmanu vartante.
Mama vartmanu vartante.
Manushya partha sarvashah.
Manushya partha sarvashah.
Would anyone like to chant this verse? Prabhu Mataji. Don't feel shy. Even if you do not know the Sanskrit pronunciation, is perfectly okay. Krishna sees effort, not result. So go ahead and try it. if you'd like, no pressure. Nobody? Okay, that's fine. So we'll go into the synonyms, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, Prabhupada can chant.
Mataji, you want to chant the verse?
Yes,
Please
Prabhuji.
go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ye yata mam prapadyante
Ye yata mam prapadyante
tams tathaiva bhajamyaham
tams tathaiva bhajamyaham
mama vartmano vartante
mama vartmanu vartante
manushah partha sarvashah.
manushyaha partha sarvasah. Thank you, Mataji.
Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartanumartante manusha partha sarvasah.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was wonderful. Synonyms: ye, all who; yatha, as; mam, unto me; prapadyante, surrender; tan, them; tatha, so; eva, certainly; bhajami, reward; aham, I; mama, my; vartma, path; anuvartante, follow; manushyaha, all men; partha, O son of Partha; sarvashaha, in all respects. Translation: as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Purport: everyone is searching for Krishna in different aspects of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms. But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. One devotee may want Krishna as the Supreme Master. One devotee may want Krishna as the Supreme Master, and another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to their different intensities of love for him. In the material world, the same reciprocation of feelings are there, and they are equally exchanged by the Lord with different types of worshippers. The pure devotee here and in the transcendental abode associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. As for those who are impersonalists and who want to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps also by absorbing them in his effulgence. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord. Having extinguished their individuality, some of them, who are not firmly situated even in the impersonal existence, return to the material field to exhibit their dormant desires for activities. They are not admitted into the spiritual planets, but they are again given a chance to act on the material planets. For those who are fruitive workers, the Lord awards the desired results of their prescribed duties as the Yatneshvara, and those who are yogis seeking mystic powers are awarded such powers. In other words, everyone is dependent for success upon his mercy alone, and all kinds of spiritual processes are but different degrees of success on the same path. Unless, therefore, one comes to the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts remain imperfect, as is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 3rd chapter, 10th verse. Akamaha sarvakamava mokshakama udaratihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one is without desire, the condition of the devotees, or is desirous of all fruitive results, or is after liberation, one should, with all efforts, try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection, culminating in Krishna consciousness. Om Ajnantimirandasya Kyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parichana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishnabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna. So thank you, dear devotees, everyone, for spending your Saturday evening on this Sangha. We listened to Kirtan by Bhavya, his brother, his parents, and it's a very nice thing just listening to this transcendental sound of vibration. It has a purificatory effect. What is purificatory effect? What does that mean? Is that currently we are conditioned, and this conditioning is like a covering. It's like a total covering on what our original condition is. So whenever we have these transcendental sound vibrations, of course, you know, sound is a form of energy. So this is that spiritual energy. The Mahamantra is a spiritual sound energy. So that energy comes and it penetrates through all that covering that we have. It doesn't matter how that covering is. Mahamantra has that potency. It goes through all that covering and then it touches what our original consciousness and our original position is. So once we connect over there, the effect starts happening gradually. Whatever are those layers, it starts getting scrubbed away. So that is the purpose of Kirtan, of Krishna Katha. When we are having discussion, we are talking about Krishna, his stories, his devotees. That also has a similar effect. In fact, the process, of getting that conditioning out for this Kali Yuga is Shravanam and Kirtanam. There are 9 processes and all, but Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanam is listening, Kirtanam is speaking or singing glories of Krishna. That is, so what we are doing is we already did Kirtanam. Now it is Shravanam. We are listening to it, of course, when I'm speaking, but I will also be listening. I'm listening to, whatever is being said. So the first item here is Krishna consciousness and transcendental knowledge. So let's look at what is transcendental knowledge. So we all understand this. This is a recap. It's Krishna. There are two types. He's the energetic. There are two forms of energy he has. One is the spirit, which is the spiritual energy known as his internal Antaranga Shakti, his internal energy. And this is further split into the Sandhini, Samvit, and Lahadini. You know, the Satchitananda aspect. The Sandhini, you know, is embodied as Lord Balram. Samvit is Krishna, you know, the Chit, awareness, full knowledge. And Lahadini, the pleasure potency, the one which is blissful. So these are the three categories of the internal energy. And then Krishna has one more internal energy, which is called the marginal energy, which is us, Jiva, the living entity. Of course, please understand that not just human beings. Krishna, there is somebody can mute it, please. Harshil Vanama.
The screen was not glitchy. The best thing. I just have to put like some, like the screen has to be jiddu or something.
I'm sorry about that. So the Jiva is not just a human being. The human being has the most developed consciousness of a Jiva, but a Jiva could be even a microscopic bacteria and everything in between. Anything that is having consciousness is the Jiva, that's the marginal energy. And the other form of his energy is the material energy, which we all know as matter, the inert dull state. That's called his external energy. And we are currently learning in Bhagavatam, for those of you who join the morning Sangha of Srimad Bhagavatam, is how this material creation comes into being. So you have the Pradhan with the three modes of goodness, passion, ignorance, from which all the ingredients, you know, his glance, Hari Kishore Prabhu a couple of days ago was explaining this. It agitates, and that's how it starts. The whole Shrishti, the whole Prakriti comes into existence. Mahatattva is where all the ingredients come together, correct? And that's how the material creation. Now understand that everything is eternal. The only difference is matter is manifest, unmanifested, manifest, unmanifested. Like it's on and off over a cyclical period. So one day of Brahma, it has what is called the temporary unmanifestation. And then again, it starts the creation. And then finally, when the lifetime of Brahma, which is 100 years, and his 1 year is like, his 12 hours are, I think, 4.32 billion years, just 12 hours. So one day, 12 hours a day, 12 hours night is 8.64 billion human years times 100. Times 365, correct, is 1 year, times 100 is his lifetime. And that's when the entire dissolution of the entire material matter, that all gets absorbed back into Krishna. And then again, you know, Mahavishnu, he exhales. So that is one inhale. When he inhales, everything is pulled in. And when he exhales, everything comes back into existence. So just understand, this is what is spirit, this is what is matter. And this dotted line that you see in yellow, subject matter related to this in the dotted rectangle is called the transcendental knowledge. Actually, transcendental knowledge also includes matter. So what we're understanding, Pradhan, Mahat Tattva, and so on and so forth, you know, the gross and subtle body, all that is also actually included in transcendental knowledge. So transcendental knowledge is all encompassing. You know, material knowledge is subset, but material knowledge doesn't include transcendental knowledge. Material knowledge, you know, there are so many sciences. You know, there is physics, chemistry, biology, human relations, psychiatry, this, that, marine biology. There are so many subjects, so many fields of sciences. And the highest one can attain is called a PhD. PhD stands for Doctorate in Philosophy. That P with a lower H stands for philosophy. Philosophy is nothing but understanding the nature of things as they are. Understanding. So when you come to such a level, specialization in that particular area of study, okay, you understand the nature of things as it is. But material sciences only goes, as I said, it's a subset. On top of that, there is the spiritual science, of which material science is also a part of it. So the actual PhD is someone who's on the path of Krishna consciousness or transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, it's just a partial PhD. And under the PhD, you know, is the master's. Under master's is undergrad. Then you have the high school. Then you have your GED, and then, you know, middle school. And then someone is just barely literate. And then there is the illiterate person. So this is what you understand about transcendental knowledge. Now, transcendental knowledge, okay, it is superior. Why is it superior? Is because it deals with the spirit. You can make out that spirit has more value than matter. In the sense, matter is used for a purpose of spirit. You know, matter on itself can't do anything. It is dull, it is inert. Whereas spirit can do many things. Like even you see when the creation happened, you know, there was the Pradhan and it required the spirit. Okay, Mahavishnu's glance, he looked at it. And that's how everything came into being. So matter comes from life or spirit, not the other way around. Currently, material sciences are trying to come up with this proposal saying that, oh, we're just a bunch of chemicals and we can create life. And, you know, whatever is consciousness is just some chemicals in the brain and so on and so forth. But actually, the reality is that matter is what comes from spirit. And spirit can manipulate and control matter, not the other way around. So it deals with spirit, that's why it is superior. The other is that it is permanent, no loss. What I mean by this is when we say it is permanent, even matter is permanent, but it manifests, unmanifests, it manifests, it unmanifests. Correct? It's like on, off, on, off, on, off. Whereas the spirit is a steady state of on. It's on. So even when a jiva comes into contact with matter in the material world, okay, even when that entire, whether it's at the day of Brahma, end of the day of Brahma, or at the end of the lifespan of Brahma, the jiva remains. Everything else is dissolved. The dissolution, what they call. Therefore, whatever you do in the spiritual path and transcendental knowledge, that is never lost. As one grows over, one's memory and one's intellect starts diminishing. There is a condition known as dementia or even Alzheimer's, where the person forgets everything. So we may forget everything about bhakti and what we have done. However, it is not lost. It is not lost. It remains with the soul. The soul is eternal. And next, when the soul again comes back, takes birth, he picks up from where he has left. That is the beauty. So it's permanent. There is no loss at all. Finally, alignment. What do you mean by alignment is that we are spirit and we are understanding about spirit. So it is congruent. It's like this. You're directly in contact, spirit with spirit. Matter is something which is inferior. Of course, matter is also important. We need to understand it for the purpose of a spiritual purpose of using it. As I said, the spirit can control the matter. It has a certain purpose. Matter serves a particular purpose. That's what it is for. So if we only focus on the matter and material sciences and material knowledge, that entire purpose is defeated of knowledge. Knowledge has a certain purpose, or it is incomplete, let me say. So then when there is alignment, transcendental knowledge has alignment with who we are and what her purpose is. So what is Krishna consciousness? Very nice. At the end of this slide, I'll share you a URL, a link. Please visit it. You know, Prabhupada's beauty was that still is, we are reading his books. Prabhupada's beauty is that his lectures, his books, such deep philosophical, such deep scientific matter, he has been able to explain it in easy to understand and relate. Very easy to understand and relate. You know, without making it anything complicated. Einstein has said, you are a master of your subject is if you can explain what you know to a 5-year-old child. Imagine explaining it to a 5-year-old child software programming or software engineering without using jargon, without using anything, without going with assumptions. So if you're able to do that, you're a subject matter expert. What Prabhupada has done is he has taken this sublime to our jad buddhi, our thick intelligence, our material conditioning, which even we can understand and relate. So Krishna consciousness, okay, is the science of God. This is what Prabhupada, when he was having a discussion with Satswarup Swami Maharaj in the early days. So Krishna consciousness is the science of God, okay? What it says is there are 3 ways to understand. Of course, Krishna consciousness relates to Krishna and it's unlimited. It can have infinite number of realizations and explanations. But Prabhupada just encapsulated it in 3 very nice sections. First is, it is, of course, science of God, Krishna, and there are different degrees of understanding. And Prabhupada gives the example of a skyscraper. You know, the skyscraper, there are many floors, and the topmost floor is the most important floor. Now, to reach that, there are steps. Someone may climb 2 steps, someone may climb 10 steps, someone may climb 100 steps, whatever it is. So, all what he's saying is religion is basically the science of God, to understand God, and different religions have up to a different degree of understanding where you reach. So it is not that anyone can get a level of superiority to say that I'm on the 200th step, that's why the person who's on the 2nd step is inferior, or my religion is the best. No, everyone is on the same path. This is how Prabhupada has explained it, right? Different degrees of understanding. And this relates very well into what 4.11 is all about. It means to understand everything. What does this mean is Krishna consciousness, you're understanding Krishna. Everything is Krishna and Krishna is everything. That's the basic principle. There is nothing which is outside of Krishna, and there is nothing that Krishna isn't inside of. So if somebody becomes Krishna consciousness, it means one understands everything. Like I said earlier, there's the spiritual science, material science is just a subset, but matter is also one of Krishna's energy. It is not separate. There is no time space where Krishna isn't there. There is nothing which doesn't belong to Krishna. Everything is Krishna, and Krishna is everything. So it means if someone is Krishna conscious, it means that person understands everything. It is holistic. It is all encompassing, that level of knowledge. You know, you have a PhD in physics, you have a PhD only in physics, not chemistry, not biology, not mathematics. Whereas Krishna consciousness means you understand everything. The person who is a bhakt, a person who is a devotee, is the highest PhD. He has a PhD in everything. That's what it means to understand everything. And it is our original consciousness. That's who we are. Krishna consciousness is the original consciousness. That's who we are. Consciousness to be aware of. Chit. Knowledge comes from awareness. So that's who we are, Krishna conscious, God conscious. And, you know, you could please go to krishna.com. What Krishna conscious means, separated by hyphen. It will give you more understanding of the dialogue between Satswarup Goswami Maharaj and our dear Srila Prabhupada. So this is what Krishna consciousness is about. Now that we understand Krishna consciousness, you put it into practice, because everyone knows, there's Gyan and there's Vigyan. Krishna consciousness is not actually just Gyan. Krishna consciousness is Vigyan, the practical application. So when you do something, okay, it is very important to be introspective, and it's very important to understand what are your strengths, what are the weaknesses, where are the opportunities, and where are the threats. This makes us careful, and this ensures that we are on the path of progress. This also ensures we don't take anything for granted. This also ensures that if there are any cracks, we can fill it up and not fall in or stumble on it. This also understands that we know where we are in any given point of time. So, of course, in management and in the corporate world, it is called SWOT, which is just the acronym for SWOT, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. But this becomes something very useful even in our bhakti and even in our sadhana. Yukta Vairagya, anything and everything belongs to Krishna, and anything and everything can be used in bhakti, in his service. So what is it in Krishna consciousness practicing? When we do self-check, we understand that we're doing sadhana. Sadhaka is nothing but a person or devotee who's on the path of the devotional service, correct process. So sadhana and sadhaka. So what are the strengths on the path of bhakti? Guru, sadhu, and shastra. I read a nice thing today in Bhagavatam. Prabhupada has explained what is shastra. He's saying shastra is that which regulates your activity. Shastra. So there's Guru, there is Sadhu, there's Shastra. What is Sadhu? Gaur Govind Swami, he has said Sadhu is someone who has surrendered with love to Krishna. Surrendered with love. We understand Sadhu as, someone who's orange clothes. Typically people from the Indian background, orange clothes, big beard, renounced. Renounced is one thing. Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya. He's renounced his own desire. However, anything and everything he will use in Krishna's service. Sadhu. Guru is someone who teaches you with his personal example. So Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, these are the strengths. If we are connected with this, our strength in form of determination, in form of understanding, gets stronger and stronger. So the strength is Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Anarthas, what are the anarthas? All are conditioning. Conditionings are many, but just put it down as whatever we think, say, do, is all self-centered. It's for I, me, myself, mine, and extensions thereof. That's the material condition. We are in the center. Therefore, everything related to it is an anartha. Anartha is stopping us. It becomes an impediment. It's an hurdle. Laziness, one of that. There are many. Prajalpa, laziness, all these, jealousy, envy, correct? So those are the weaknesses. It's weakness in us and weaknesses in others also, right? Imperfections. So as long as we recognize it, we'll be able to do something about it rather than just shrug your shoulder and say, what can I do? It's my nature. No, that's not your nature. Your nature is Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Nityara Krishna Nityadas. You're the servant of Krishna, the eternal servitor. Your nature is not these anarthas and the way you think under the mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness. That's not who you are. So that's my weaknesses. What are my opportunities? My opportunities is Sangha, Vaishnava Sangha, and the opportunity to serve. This Vaishnava Sangha is what we're doing right now. We do Kirtan, we listen to Krishna Katha, we go to the temple. Of course, temple nowadays is restricted because of COVID, correct? But otherwise, the association, we associate with Prabhupada's books. We listen to lectures on YouTube of different devotees. On Facebook, you subscribe to all these pages. All that is Sangha. And the purpose of Sangha is so that we can serve. Seva is the platform on which knowledge, progress, everything rests. Seva, service. So these are the opportunities that we have. What are the threats? Aprad. We take things for granted. Oh, now I know enough. I can recite the entire Bhagavad Gita. One person came and told, oh, Prabhupada, so-and-so, he can recite the entire Bhagavad Gita in 45 minutes. So Prabhupada looked at his disciple and says, can he live Bhagavad Gita for 4 minutes? What happens is we take each other and we take whatever is given to us for granted. Oh, now I'm initiated. Now, it's okay. Oh, now I've been doing it for 10 years. I've been doing it for 30 years, Krishna consciousness. I know everything. Once we start taking things for granted, it becomes very cheap. We don't value it. And when something is not valued, we become negligent and careless with it. And when we become negligent and careless, we start committing offenses. And that's what happens. These are the threats. Therefore, we should be very vigilant all the time. All the time be mindful. All the time be thoughtful. What am I doing? Is it bringing me closer or is it taking me further away? Of course, because of our conditioning, we are habituated. But even after the thought or that act or event, we should be able to contemplate. And once you do it for 1, 2, 3, it becomes automatic to you. And then even before saying something, thinking something, doing something, it will become, am I doing this to get closer or is it taking me farther away? So these are the strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. And what this does is, for the sadhaka, if you're very mindful about this, is it starts bringing about realizations that knowledge, it goes deep within. To give you what is realization, I can tell a child how to ride a bicycle. But until and unless a child doesn't sit on the bicycle and starts pedaling and he loses his balance and he's going this way, that way, then there is the steady hand of the father or mother on the seat behind. And then till such time he knows that, okay, this is how I maintain my equilibrium. Then he knows how to ride a bicycle. But until and unless he doesn't climb on that bicycle, he will not know. He'll know exactly what is a bicycle, how it moves, what is a wheel, spoke, handle, the bell, everything he'll know. But he still doesn't know how to ride a bicycle. That is realization. So we can understand everything about Bhagavad Gita. We can memorize shlokas, we can recite, we could give great pravachans. But until and unless it's not practiced, it is useless. From realizations comes love of God. The entire process of bhakti, Krishna consciousness, to develop love of Godhead. Whose Godhead is Krishna, correct? And once you develop that love of Godhead, we go back to our original position, back to Godhead. So this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. Now coming to this particular verse of today, as all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. What is the theme? When we hear about Krishna consciousness, many persons have become purified. I explained to you what purification is and attained love for Krishna because it was their desire. It was their desire. Once you have a desire, then Krishna brings you closer and closer towards him. However, you could take shelter of Krishna with something other than the desire to achieve love for him. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 types of people who come to him. Someone who is in distress. He has some problem. I'm sick, my family member is sick, please cure him. Then someone wants to get something, gain something. When gain something is, I want to get a job, I want to pass in my exam, I want a beautiful wife, I want a good husband for my daughter, whatever it may be, gain. The other person is someone who is inquisitive, curious. He says that why are things like this? Why am I born to my parents? Why does the sun rise in the east? Why does it set in the west? Why does it rain? What are the nature of things? A curious person, he comes to Krishna. When you take that curiosity further and further, why, the answer of all whys finally will culminate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu had explained this. Everything, the cause of everything. Okay, you go back, the cause of me is my father, the cause of my father is my grandfather, my great-grandfather. You keep asking these questions, finally it will dovetail and come to the cause of all causes. Ishwar Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradira Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam, Sarva Karana Karanam. The causeless cause of all causes is Govinda, Krishna. So that curiosity will bring you to Krishna. And other fourth type is a self-realized soul. Like as I said, maybe in the previous life, our path, devotional service didn't get completed for whatever reason. You get another chance to renew, to start where you left off, not zero. To start where you left off. So these are the four categories. So Krishna explains his reciprocation with the various categories. People on different paths are not realizing different things. That's why we feel that, array, that fellow is like this, that fellow is my religion, your religion, our religion has so many things, and it is the most comprehensive. Krishna consciousness is the most comprehensive. Those people are all incomplete. A sense of pride comes in. That's a conditioning. It's just different degrees and aspects. They're all on the path to Krishna. Remember, all roads lead to Rome. All spiritual paths, everything leads to Krishna. We cannot be making this that, this person is from this particular religion. They only have incomplete knowledge. They're all on the path. They all realize different degrees and different aspects of Krishna. Okay, so what does 4.11 say? Everyone is searching for stuff. It's just Krishna and his different manifestations. Even a person, a student who's doing his PhD, working on his dissertation, he also is on the path of Krishna, but on the material energy end. He doesn't know it, he's looking for Krishna. In fact, he may be totally against Krishna. He may be an atheist. But the fact remains is that source of whatever he is doing is Krishna. So Krishna in different manifestations. There are three levels of the absolute truth realizations. You know it, Brahman, his effulgence, Paramatma, his localized aspect by which he is everywhere, and Bhagavan, the supreme enjoyer, Sat Chit Ananda. Correct? Sat is the existentialism, eternality, Brahman, his effulgence, Paramatma, Chit, awareness. He is everywhere. He's in the atom, he's in my soul, my heart, your heart. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. And being everywhere, he knows everything. He knows past, he knows present, he knows future. There's not a single place where Krishna isn't there. Correct? Then only bhakti is the process and bhaktas who can realize Krishna fully. Everything else is a subset. Remember those stairs of the skyscraper which Prabhupada has given the example. Someone is second, someone is 10, someone is 200. But until unless you're on the path of bhakti, you're rising and rising and rising and reaching to who Bhagavan is. Otherwise, it just stops somewhere. It will stop at Paramatma, it will stop at Brahman. It could go even below that, some material. It could be a PhD, MSc, Masters, it could be an undergrad, whatever be that case. Then what Krishna is saying in this verse is he satisfies according to your desire. What desire you have? The impersonalists, they want to merge, so he gives them Brahman. Okay, he takes them to the Brahma Jyoti. Okay, a jnani, he comes up to the Paramatma level. The yogis, they do all these tapasya and penance and all that. They get these powers. They want those powers. So Krishna awards them the powers, siddhis. For the bhakti, according to the person's proclivity, there are the 5 rasas we know, correct? He could be in Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, the friendship, parental love. or the highest, which is the conjugal madhurya. So you could have in different degrees. So whatever is your desire, through that desire, Krishna fulfills. In the Bible, it says, ask and thou shalt receive. And then most important is, without his mercy, there is no success. That's what it means, without his mercy. We can have our endeavor, but it also requires his mercy. And there's a way of how you can't actually qualify for mercy. Mercy is causeless. And Romapad Maharaj explained it, it's like sunshine. Sunshine is everywhere. But we choose to remain indoor. All you have to do is step out. So this process of what we're doing, the Krishna conscious bhakti, the process what it is doing is it is bringing us out into the sunshine. So what we're doing is that effort. Some people don't want Krishna. Krishna says, fine, I'll remain a mystery to you. You think I don't exist? Fine. For you, I don't exist. You think I'm only my effulgence? Fine. You'll merge into effulgence. That's his mercy. It is there for everyone. Whether I want it or I don't want it is my free will, my independence, my choice. Okay. Now we come to Srivas Prabhu Pandit, whose appearance is tomorrow. We all know that he is the fifth tattva, correct? We know the Panch tattva. Panch is 5. Tattva is the truth, established truth, or the principles, correct? What are the Panch tattva? Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. So we know that Krishna Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu as he is lovingly called, is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. He came for a particular purpose in the role of a devotee who distributed love of Godhead. Correct? Freely. No if and buts. He just gave it. Prabhu Nityanand, we know, is Lord Balaram. Advaita is Lord Shiva. Gadadhar is Srimati Radharani, the manifestation or the embodiment. And Srivas Pandit, he is Narada Muni. Okay? The Jiva. He is Narada Muni. Now, all the three up till Advaita are the Vishnu Tattva. Radharani is Radharani, the pleasure potency. And then this is the Jiva Tattva represented by Narada Muni and all the other devotees. So he taught, Mahaprabhu taught through Srivas Pandit how he is conquered by the love of his devotee. Krishna, who is the supreme, becomes the servant of his servant. A devotee is the servant of Krishna. And that is the beauty of spirituality. The master becomes the servant and each tries to serve the other more and more. So Mahaprabhu taught through Srivas Pandit how he is conquered by the love of his devotee. I'll do a quick time check. Okay. So Srivas Prabhu, he has, in fact, if you go to Mayapur, there is Srivas Angan. That's where the Sankirtan movement started from. That's the birthplace. And those of you who like cricket, which, if most Indians love cricket, the nursery of Indian cricket is a place called Shivaji Park in Mumbai. It's called the nursery of cricket. Nursery is where the conditions and everything is just right. So if cricket is a baby, the nursery is Shivaji Park. So you have great players like Sachin Tendulkar, Sunil Gavaskar, Vengsarkar, so many whose formative years and the training and everything, Shiksha, happened in Shivaji Park. That's why they call it the nursery. Similarly, Srivas Angan, when Mahaprabhu came, what did Mahaprabhu do? Mahaprabhu gave the Mahamantra and he said, you just sing, chant and dance. What an easy process. Imagine no need to sit and control your mind and do meditation for years and years together. Just sing and dance. That singing and dancing he did in Srivas Pandit's home. It's called Srivas Angan. So if at all you get the opportunity, please go there. It's a dham. Dham is a place which is spiritually surcharged. Spiritually surcharged, and any little seva, any little activity gets magnified exponentially. Go and do kirtan and go and dance in Srivasangam. You can't express that feeling, it has to be felt. So that's what he did. And there's a very nice pastime of Srivas Prabhu. When Mahaprabhu was dancing, and all night the devotees used to sing and dance, all night. Transcendental. When he was there, in the next room, his son was running high fever. Srivas Pandit's son was running high fever, and he passed away. He left his body. When he left his body, the women, his mother, and all the other ladies in the house, in the inner rooms, they started crying. And in the courtyard, Mahaprabhu is dancing jubilantly with all the devotees. Kirtan is going on full swing. The mridang, the kartal, people are dancing, sweating, jumping, total ecstasy. And then Srivas Pandit Prabhu, he heard this and he went inside. He's saying, what's going on? His own son has died, left his body. Just imagine going into a room. There is kirtan happening in your one room, and you go into your room and you see your son is dead. What would happen? Srivas Pandit Prabhu chastised his wife and all the other female relatives. He's saying, how dare you? Don't you know that your crying will disturb the mood, the ecstasy of Mahaprabhu? Don't you know this? What business you have? He chastised them. He's saying, if you don't stop crying, I'll put a pot around my neck and I'm going to jump in the water and I'll kill myself. You stop it. Mahaprabhu then realized that there is something. And of course, there was a whole other pastime of how he revived his son and then explained. So what does Mahaprabhu say in all this? What does this teach us? What does this teach us? The Srivas Prabhu's Pandit's behavior, what I explained to you, and what it means to sadhana bhakti. One lesson we can learn is anything and everything, yukta vairagya, is in Krishna's service. Anything and everything. Nothing should stop us, whether moments of joy or moments of sorrow, whether our faults or somebody else's fault, whether we trip and fall, whether we are running full speed ahead. Nothing should get in our way of serving Krishna. So this could mean through actions, whatever we do. I said earlier, be mindful. Deeds, words, thoughts. And what this means is we have to desire for that state that we could be unmotivated, uninterrupted, and unconditionally. Of course, in the initial stages, there are motivations, there are interruptions, there are conditions. We'll ask Krishna, what is this you're doing? I've been serving you for so long and I got laid off. What is the use of all this? Maybe you not say it vocally, but we'll feel it internally. But no. That is the state that we have to aspire for. And everything is for Krishna's pleasure. You're listening, your purification is happening, but understand that Krishna is pleased by you sitting here rather than be watching a movie or news or doing something else. Or, I don't know, Facebook, Twitter or something. You say, no, I'll spend my time to listen to Krishna Katha that pleases Krishna. The side benefit is that purification is happening. If I'm talking, it is for Krishna's pleasure. It doesn't matter whether there are 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, or a stadium full of people. It doesn't matter. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj told his disciples, they had organized a big show and they went to do the pravachan, very happy and very excited. And they saw that there were only two or three people had come in the audience. So they became very disappointed and they came back and they told Thakur Maharaj that, oh, how much preparation we made and all, but nobody came. So Maharaj says, good, nobody came. You're going there. Your primary purpose is to pravachan, is to please Krishna. The primary reason. is to please Krishna. The primary reason we are sitting in Sangha is to please Krishna. The primary, anything that we do, seva, is for Krishna's pleasure. He said, even if nobody is there, you talk katha to the walls, you preach to the walls. So this is what Srivas Prabhu Pandit, he taught through his behavior. So, and he did this in Sangha with all the Gaur Bhakta Vrinda and Seva. This is what it is. So this Prabhu Mataji's is today's class. This is our dear beloved Srila Prabhupada. And usually as I end my presentation with a picture of Srila Prabhupada, if there is anybody who would like to tell me or share your thoughts on what is Srila Prabhupada expression and what is he thinking about. Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji.
I believe in his eyes I see pain and suffering, well, compassion for all fallen souls, and he's trying to reach out and help as many fallen souls as he can. He's feeling so much compassion, and there's so much depth in his eyes that he wants to help as many souls as possible to reach and know about Krishna in the picture.
Thank you very much. That's a very beautiful picture. Speaks 1,000 words. There's a popular saying, picture speaks 1,000 words. And each one of us connects to a picture based on whatever is our frame of reference, or based on our level of consciousness or whatever, that's how we can. So two people could look at the same picture and have 10 different realizations or experiences with that picture. Thank you, Divyang Prabhu. Anybody else would like to share what this picture means to them? Dear Govind Prabhu, my dear Govind Prabhu, what do you think? And anyway, you can please, I don't want to put anyone in a hot spot. If you'd like, please share it. Okay. This is the caption which was there on Srila Prabhupada's this very picture. But yes, Divyang, I agree with you when I had this, the level of paradukha dukhi. He's seeing people's pain. And, that's the expression. He's feeling the conditioning and what it does to the jiva. And this is what Prabhupada's had said in one of his conversations with his disciple. To begin with knowledge, that's what we are talking about today, Krishna consciousness, transcendental knowledge. Krishna recommends humility, amanitvam. He recommends humility because the real disease of material life is that he is not humble. We are not humble. That's the disease. We are always proud. And I was reflecting on this particular statement and I saw it in our, today there is COVID and mask mandate. There is enough of scientific evidence, proof, whatever it is, please wear mask, please wear mask. But in spite of that, there are people who do not wear mask. It shows, how much they care about themselves or others. The convenience of not wearing a mask because I find it obstructing is more important to me than some other person's life. Literally, it means that. See the level of arrogance. I don't believe in it. It's all a conspiracy. Though we see that over 500,000 people have died and are dying. But no, I will not put my mask. Or I'll be lackadaisical, I'll wear it on my chin. I'll wear it improperly or, here under the nose. But I will not wear my mask. So that shows a level of arrogance. And this is what I was talking about. Be thoughtful, be mindful. whatever we do has implications to ourselves and to others. And especially when someone is in a bhakta, the sangha, it can have repercussions not on yourself or somebody else. It also goes upwards and affects the deity. If someone who's asymptomatic, you don't know you have the virus until unless you do a test. Of course, there are symptoms, but you could be asymptomatic carrier. And with every breath, you're spreading that lethal virus all over, and some other devotee close to you, in spite of wearing a mask, could get infected because you don't have your mask or you're wearing your mask improperly. That devotee falls ill. That devotee has seva, he's doing deity service. That gets affected. He could infect to others. So you see how the chain effect goes on, all because of carelessness. Of course, if somebody doesn't know, that is ignorance. But in spite of knowing it and not doing it is arrogance. And that becomes a threat on our path of devotional service. So, Prabhus, Matajis, thank you very much for your time and attention. If anyone has any questions, I'm 3 minutes over time. We could post it to Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya, or if there's time, Simeshwar Prabhu. We can have a few questions or later on, as you'd decide. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful, wonderful class. There's so much points you covered about the practical applications, the Vigyan, the devotional service, the realizations, the Gyan, the knowledge. And of course, you covered pretty much and the topics of the appearance, the glories of Srivas Thakur. Yeah, there is endless stories of Srivas Thakur. Just mention about that's absolutely, very, very wonderful. So you really put the topics of how we can apply practical, that's transcendental knowledge. You mentioned that practical application is the transcendental knowledge, realized knowledge. That's very, very powerful, very nice. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. So dear devotees, please open up, unmute yourself, and you can please ask any questions, or if you have any reflections or any comments. So it's a wonderful opportunity, dear devotees, that, there is no words to express the Sangha, the glories of the Sangha, the association of devotees. It's very rare, even in heavenly planets. It's very difficult to attain sadhu Sangha or association of devotees in even higher planetary systems. So what they do, they take birth on earthly planets to have this association. That important it is. Why? Because of this moment of this spark, or this moment of association of this spark can sprout or can sow the seed of bhakti lada. The beej can put it in our heart, that will grow. That's where our everything, in this world is gradually diminishing in our suffering, our problems, anarthas, understanding, ignorance, unhappiness, distress, suffering, it's everything. You say that we can see that this all because of that we don't have this proper understanding. That's why, the mercy of the Lord, that this Sangha is arranged so that we can hear even a little bit of, even a verse of Bhagavad Gita, even a word of Bhagavad Gita, even a sentence of Bhagavad Gita, it can transform us, it can completely transform us. And we can gradually grow further and understand this transcendental supreme science of Krishna consciousness. So Amritananda Prabhu was revealing that, the science of Krishna consciousness, how to know the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhu was revealing this. So nice. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class.
Thank you, Simeshwar Prabhu. One point, if I can add to Sangha.
Please.
Sangha gives you inspiration and what you say, practical knowledge. I'll give you a small example which happened this afternoon with Simeshwar. When Prabhu called me and he says, he requested, could you please do the class? I said, okay. And then later on, he shared with me an idea which he has. And he was saying that, I was thinking of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, let me tell you, all this Sangha and all these things that are happening. Simeshwar Prabhu is the one who organizes everything. Now, behind the scenes activity, there are many. What we see is at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we just log into Zoom. There is a speaker available. There is all this forum, setting up the Zoom conference, everything is ready. So we come in here, that's his seva. He does the Bhagavad Gita. He does Bhakti Vriksha. He does the yagyas in the temple. He does different services in the temple. He does management in the temple. So he does Sankirtan book distribution. Now, when I say all these broad level activities, there are thousands of details which he's managing. Plus, he's managing a job. That's what is, but still that is not enough for him. The example or what point I'm trying to stress is, no matter how much a devotee does, he always feels that I'm not doing enough. So he's contemplating now that how can we bring in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Because there are 3 major books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So his mind is working, already he's doing so much. His mind is working on what more can I do? And I'm not saying it as a, of course, in itself, it is glorious to have this kind of thinking. But as an example, when you're in Sangha, you can realize that how people, their behavior, how they do stuff. And then it makes you cognizant of how much I'm doing. The question is not how much or how little you're doing, how much desire that we have. If you remember in the previous slides, there was that according to your desire, Krishna will fulfill. And the more you desire to serve, the more you desire to associate, the closer Krishna brings you to him, the closer you'll have realization, the closer you'll have the knowledge about stuff. So that is Sangha. And each and every person, each and every one of you is precious. Never ever think that somebody is senior, junior, this, that, and all that. If you think you're the senior most devotee in the room, you're in the wrong room. The entire process, the Sangha, that's the beauty of Sangha. So, Prabhu's, Mataji's, again, Dandvat for your time. Thank you very much. And Simeshwar Prabhu, thank you for being you. Thank you very much. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. I just wanted to know actually that whatever Prabhuji says, from Prabhuji's humility, I'm not doing much. It's all your mercy, all your devotees, association, your inspiration. I'm just trying to serve a little bit, not much of it. Don't misunderstand. I'm just trying, to serve you all. Nothing, nothing much of it. So thank you so much for your association. That's the most important for me. In service, that please always, engage. I'm humbly requesting engage me in devotees in the service. That's all I'm trying to do. So thank you so much for all your association. That's what is most valued for, especially all our wonderful devotees. Comes together.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I just had one realization.
Please.
Based upon what Prabhuji just said. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was in India with Srila Prabhupada, and he was, explaining, remembering reflections on Srila Prabhupada. So he was describing how at one point, so much responsibilities were on his shoulders because there were so many sannyasis, and then he had to deal with a lot of the different aspects of handling the temple. So at one point he thought to himself, I can't take this anymore. This is just too much. So he goes to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada have too many services. I can't focus on Krishna. I can't, chant. And then Prabhupada started laughing. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj was somewhat surprised because he was thinking that, Srila Prabhupada would sympathize with him. And then Prabhupada, explained to him that this is actually good because now you are not, Krishna's giving you a golden opportunity. So Maya does not have, a chance to influence you, I guess, in a way. It was such a wonderful way that Tamal Krishna Maharaj explained it. But basically, I guess the thing is that the more service that we do, the less chance there is for Maya to influence us or misguide us and take us on the wrong path.
Yeah.
Very nice, Divyang Prabhu. Very nice.
Yeah. Very true. Wonderful.
Also, apologies, you must have heard the mewing of my cats. I have two pets, my son and my daughters.
Oh, I was wondering, where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's Shamrao and Yamuna. I call them Shamrao and Yamuna. And they, especially the younger one, she just loves when in the morning when I do japa, she comes and sits on the stool.
Mm-hmm.
She just sits. Of course, sometimes she'll go away. So sorry about that. But I guess they also are listening to Katha.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Bring it to a close if there are no.
Yeah, let's. If there is no other comments or any concerns, reflections, we can conclude then. Wonderful. Okay, so let's also thank His Grace Amritananda Prabhu, a wonderful Haribol. Haribol.
Thank you.
Pray our obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhasya
Kripa sindhu bhavacha
Paridanam pavane
Vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hari Om. My dear Govind Prabhu, so nice to see you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I just came home. I didn't know your question even. I just saw the picture. I just joined 8:57 or something. I was out. I was out. Yeah.